Welcome to the Quarantine Canteen, another episode. So, just a few updates, housekeeping things. One, finally got my camera arm in thanks to our anonymous benefactor. So, I'm trying out a new setup today. So, please feel free to just jump in and, throw some tips or anything else you have out right now, because this is the first time I'm trying such a different setup, and I'm hoping that it'll be better, at least from the cooking end, to actually show you what I'm doing on cutting boards and on the stove and everywhere else in the kitchen. So it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to try out a few different things this stream. It's a little different, which is kind of fine because it's a real chill day, and we'll be doing some meal prep today. So if you weren't here for the previous episodes, husband's going back to work, which means that he will be out of the house all day, and we will meal prep in order to save some money and some time so that he's not, driving all over the place and spending money eating out for lunch every day, that kind of thing. So it helps save some money, and also it's a little bit healthy than your average takeout meals. And then this week, what we have going on, I believe I'm getting another Imperfect Foods box delivered tomorrow. I have to check my meal kit shipment to see when that is supposed to be here this week. So we might have another double unboxing, or we might just have one, and then one maybe a little later in the week. And then I'll have to see what the schedule looks like in terms of bringing you guys into the kitchen for a couple dinners, or maybe even a lunch stream this week, depending on what the schedule ends up being. So we'll see. I'm also trying to see if I can work in some kind of specialty meals. I don't know. I have a few cookbooks that have sort of been sitting on the shelf for a while, so I might try and incorporate one or two of those things. Quarantine is not the best time because you can't really go out to the supermarket like you normally do. So we'll see how it goes. Good morning, Screwball, or good afternoon, wherever you guys are. So we'll just get started and jump right into it with our meal prep activities of what we're gonna do. So today we have some chicken and some other meats that we'll be prepping, and then I'm gonna do some roasted vegetables because obviously have to be some healthy things, and that some of that's for husband, some of that's for me, so that I can easily throw together lunch while I'm on the clock, and we'll see how that goes. So here you can see I have sort of a new view of the cutting board station, so you guys can actually see, chopping board action this time. So I thought that was great. So I've had some vegetables sitting in my fridge for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them in the oven and roast them for a little bit. Super not complicated. Great way to use up veggies that are sort of starting to go bad but not going bad. So we're gonna do that. Thank you, Warbert. Hope you're recovering well from last night. Really appreciate that. These are, I think they're granite. I don't know. They were here when we moved in. One of the reasons why I loved this kitchen was actually the countertops. So, all right, so I have a bunch of these tomatoes. They're already washed. I'm literally just gonna put them into this bowl. And then I have some squash. You can kind of see they're not in the best. This was part of my Imperfect Foods. They're not in the best of shape, and they're starting to go bad. So I'm just going to also throw these into the oven and roast them as well. And this is sort of like, I typically like to actually put my vegetables in a frying pan and do it that way, but this will allow me to keep some of the stovetop free while I do the other things during the week for a week. And then this will also allow me to sort of just boil some pasta water and actually just throw all of this together really quickly for like a veggie pasta lunch or something like that. I couldn't hang last night. I went to bed and shut the lights out. Everyone was up until well past midnight. You got up and see, that's what you do. So how nice of you to go in there and make everybody breakfast. That's kind of me too. I definitely went to bed well before midnight, even though I still had the stream on. I'm like an old lady. I can't really hang much anymore. I'm gonna make that. Sometimes it's nice to have one of these like kind of like garbage type bowls, so then you're not going back and forth to the trash can all the time. So we're not gonna make anything super complicated out of these veggies. Not gonna do any super complicated seasonings either. Unfortunately, it's raining outside, which is one, depressing, and two, means I can't use this on the grill, but this is also a fantastic option in the summer if you have access to vegetables. Legitimately, if you're not a huge veggie fan, try them on the grill, because I don't know, something about throwing them on a grill just brings out certain flavors that you can't get out of the oven or frying pan. That's just really, really good. So a lot of my vegetable love comes from putting veggies on the grill in the summer, and they're tastier that way. So definitely want to get some grill action in. Maryland weather just hasn't been cooperating lately. Sometimes I'll stay up well past everyone, and Chantel will get up and handle breakfast. You guys make such a good team. Yeah, I agree. I think it's been great getting to know a lot of people, especially for some reason during quarantine. I feel like I've really been getting to connect with a lot of people, and I'm super into that. Like, it makes me feel not as alone. I am so glad that I have Twitch and Twitter and the internet, or I'd be like, I don't know what to do with myself. So, like I said, just really simple roasted veg. Actually, you know what? Let me grab an onion, because that would help probably balance everything out. I always have a ton of onions in my fridge. It's one of like the vegetables I try and always have on hand. And my knife is not very sharp right now, so that's not a great thing either. Alright. A sharp knife is safer than a dull knife. So, I'm not going to get all fancy with this either. I'm not going to cut these up too small. Just throw these chunks in here as well, and then I think that's good enough. Let me just pick up this onion a little bit more. I have little onion smelling hands. It really has been fun seeing new people come into the community recently. Good morning, Smackria. How are you doing? There is nothing more dangerous than a dull knife. I actually have 3 chef's knives that I alternate between. I have a really good one, and then 2 slightly older ones that I try and sharpen. I have a knife sharpener. Actually, you guys can't see it, but it's right there. That I'll try and sharpen my knives. It makes a huge difference in terms of, like, people are like, oh, I hate slicing things, or I hate slicing onions, or whatever. Like, one, you know, check the sharpness of your knife and see if that is a problem. Because honestly, trying to chop things or make things with a dull knife is extremely hard, and you will not enjoy it. And then secondly, when you're slicing things, you can actually really cut yourself and hurt yourself with a dull knife too. Hey Teddy! Oh yeah, we got some, what is that? What's that called? Roar creepo? Yeah, Robert creep. Exactly, Robert. Coming in there with the pro kitchen tips. Yes, it is extremely important to keep your knives sharp if you are using them. So here is our, here, I love being able to do this. I'm still getting used to this camera. So here is our veggies that we're going to roast. So I'm just going to do really simple. Here's my extra virgin olive oil. I literally get the big thing from Costco, which is why it's in a, and throw it into this smaller thing. So we're just gonna do, yes, I probably use way more than I need, but whatever. We're just gonna do a really simple salt, pepper, garlic powder. I also need to get some garlic powder, as you can see. Yeah, honestly, yeah, cooking for a lot of people for a long time, you learn a lot of things. So I am going to get messy with this because it's literally just me and my husband. So I haven't been cooking, I probably haven't been cooking as long as you have I don't entertain as much. I do a lot of experimentation on my own, which is why I don't stream every day. Because some of the stuff I'm like, hey, what would happen if I threw this in there? And I don't want to give people that advice, and then it comes out tasting absolutely disgustingly horrible. So I don't stream every day because a lot of experimentation happens in my kitchen. So literally, hands are some of the best mixing tools that you have for certain things. This time I'm taking advantage of them, even though, look, my hands are all messy now. I'll probably have to wash them, but you know what? It's allowing the even coating of all the spices on all our veggies. So that's what we're doing here. Yeah, you can't scale something like filet mignon easily to a whole entertaining group of people. But honestly, Robert, I love the recipes and things that you see. Like, you definitely have inspired me to make a few things. And that's the whole point of this stream too, is to share what everybody's doing. So if you guys hadn't seen it yet, check out Robert's Twitter. She made a really delicious looking bacon mac and cheese. And then this morning she made like a hash with leftover ribeye steak. So definitely go check her out if you haven't. She also has a streaming channel. Less cooking, more games, but the Twitter definitely has the food action if that's what you're looking for. So I'm just gonna wash my hands really quick. And then we're going to just roast these in the oven. So there's a few different things. I don't think that's going to be enough. I'm going to ignore the disastrous state of my sheet pans. These are old. But one of the #1 things I always do with my pans, for the easiest cleanup in the world, I legitimately put foil on it. I mean, I know that's probably like a given, but when I'm grilling certain things or roasting certain things or putting things in the oven, putting down a layer of foil like this helps save me so much cleanup. It makes it so much easier. Yeah, I really appreciate you stopping by, Robert. People have busy schedules and all of that things, and I honestly appreciate even if people just stop by for like 5 minutes or lurk. Like, that means a lot to me. So I know there's some olive oil in the veggies, but I also hate trying to scrape everything up. So that's literally just cooking spray. I also put that on the grill before I put down meat, and it keeps things from sticking as well. So There we go. This is more like a summery vegetable spread, but here's all our veggies laid out. Very colorful medley, which means nutrition in my opinion, so. Yeah, the leftovers is something that I've been trying to work into a little bit more, especially in quarantine. Like, the supermarkets are harder to get to right now, and you don't want to be going out every other day to pick up fresh stuff. So it's like, use what you have. So my goal is to try and use as much things out of our pantry as I can this week before I have to go food shopping. So minimizing ordering out and then using what we have. So I'm just going to throw those in the oven at 375, probably for 35, 40 minutes. It depends. But I'm also one of those set it and forget it people. So I'm gonna let those go for a little bit. And then I'm gonna wash off my cutting board. And then we'll be back. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is get my chicken going. We're not gonna do anything, again, when it comes to meal prep, I prefer to let simple go over everything, and then we can just spice it up per meal so that you're not eating the same thing every day. For me, that's kind of really boring. Because I'm trying to avoid the amount of dishes that I'm doing, and I'm going to be using the same seasoning, I'm actually going to just reuse my bowl. So we have my old standby favorite, boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Oh, you need to get some wire racks. I think I only have one. I don't use it that often. I don't use it as often as I probably should. So yep, we're doing the standard boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and then I actually do have some chicken breasts too, so I'm gonna throw those in there as well. Again, I am not going to. I'm just gonna throw in there the usual. I use boneless, skinless chicken thighs because they are very, very hard to overcook. So, number one reason why I use them. Number two is because I'm a dark meat person and they taste better. So, I will have to try it out the next time I roast veggie. I'm assuming it gets more of the texture and dried out that you get when you're using the grill. All right. So there's our chicken thighs. And again, these I literally just have the packs sitting in my freezer, and then I defrost 24 to 48 hours before, and it's great because then they keep longer in the freezer, obviously, and then I can buy them in bulk at Costco. So we're gonna bring out the big frying pan for this. I actually have this. I believe this is a 12-inch frying pan. I actually have two of these, mostly for making fried chicken. One of these days I'll probably show that recipe, and I say that in quotes. I'll show that recipe on stream, but we'll have to do that sometime because everybody has it. I think we were talking about fried chicken the other day. Everybody has like their different recipe for fried chicken, and some of it's like a familial thing, some of it's like a regional thing. This is still somewhat frozen. Oops. All right, well, we'll make do with what we have. So these are our chickens, and it's going to be the same thing as we did earlier. Probably not going to put as much salt. I'm not a huge salt person just because I never grew up with it. huge garlic person, and everybody knows that. So we're gonna definitely add. Definitely keep adding that garlic. Clumsy leopard. Oh, I guess yes. Tiberius is sitting over there in the corner. I call him my sous chef when I'm doing this because he usually sits in that area here. He usually actually sits right there all the time. Like that's where he sits when I'm cooking in the kitchen, and it's really cute. So I just call him my sous chef, and he just sits there and helps and usually waits for treats. So we'll get a preview of this, how the stove cam works. Yeah. Can you guys all see that okay? Oh, that's awesome. All right, perfect. Hey Robbie, how you doing today? So I'm excited because one, this is actually a much better view of the stove than I've had since I've started this stream. So that's kind of cool that now you guys can kind of see the stove action. Not the cleanest stove in the world. That's probably gonna happen after this stream is done. And again, some more extra virgin olive oil. I tend to use extra virgin olive oil in most things that I make, unless I'm going for like an Asian inspired recipe. And then I actually have like sesame oil or canola oil or something like that. Oils do actually have flavors. So that's something to look out for, or these veggies all here. That's something to look out for when you're actually when you're selecting the type of oil that you want to use. So I'm just gonna throw this chicken in here. And because I'm choosing to use the chicken thighs, I don't have to worry about overcooking as much. I do have 2 chicken breasts in here, which I'm gonna have to keep a better eye on. So we'll see how that goes. Come on. One of these doesn't want to cooperate with me. There we go. Sometimes you gotta just use your hands. And we'll just stick that one over there. I'm not gonna overcrowd the pan. I actually still have another chicken breast. So those are basically going to brown up on both sides, and then I may actually throw some chicken stock in there for them to sort of just simmer in for a little bit. I home make all my chicken stock. I'm gonna have to do another batch soon, so we might have another chicken stock making stream. So there's going to be a few options that we'll have for sides for our chicken. So I have these, and I've showed them to you before. These are really super useful when it comes to quick meal prep or lunches or stuff like that. So I have a few packets of them on hand at all times. I'm going to open this for a quick second. And then on top of that, you know, we have pastas and different types of things. So I think what I'm going to do today, since I'm trying to clear out my pantry, just dropped all that, is use some of these egg noodles. They're, again, trying to use up the pantry. And you can put all sorts of things with them. I'm just going to boil them up. And then I'll be able to mix some of the veggies in there and that kind of thing as well. What the devil's... Oh, He left the devil's party. I was about to say, what can you eat? What can you make with a devil's party plant? Because I'm in food mood right now. Egg noodles are great. I feel like they're totally underrated. Alright. It's beginning, you can begin to, like, you're smelling, in the kitchen right now, it smells like the vegetables are beginning to sort of roast, and on top of that, the chicken, you can smell the spices from that, and I hope you can hear it a little bit too. It smells really, really good in here. Alright. So we're gonna get our water boiling for this. The egg noodles. They are, yes, I agree with that. Honestly, my favorite way to have egg noodles is just boiled with butter and ketchup. I know that sounds gross, but it's actually really good for me, so I'll take it. Alright. Yeah, so we can see our chicken is starting to brown a little bit. So we'll get that turned over. This needs a couple more minutes. This isn't the greatest pan in the world, but it works. I make do with what I had. Before I moved here, I had like 3 pans, and that was it. I am glad my audio is on point because I have been petrified of that. For some reason, whenever I export these, the audio seems off. So I'm working on trying to troubleshoot that, but doing pretty good. So we're just going to keep watch over this chicken. I am probably going to throw some chicken stock in it just to give it a little added flavor. I know, you mentioned cast iron. I have a cast iron pan. I am very scared to use it on the stove. I've used it on the grill, but I've never used it like stove oven before. So I guess I gotta take that leap at some point. I actually have a mini cast iron too, the baby one. This isn't in the greatest shape, so I'm gonna get judged. But here's my mini cast iron. And then I have a bigger one, an 8-inch one too. Alright, so we're gonna check on these other. Yeah, these definitely have a little bit better color now. Again, the best part about these is that they are very hard to overcook. And I don't know, my mom had this thing about accidentally burning things, so I've always been one of those people that have been like, hey, like, what can I not burn easily when I make things in the kitchen? So that's what we go. Mini cast iron is perfect for grilled cheese, and I will try quesadillas. I do have some tortillas for quesadillas, so 100% we'll be trying that. Alright, just gonna check on our veggies real quick. They're doing pretty well. I'm just gonna set a quick timer to check these. We may have to finish that part off stream, just so you guys don't have to wait around forever. Alright, let's take a look at this. Yeah, this other side gets cooked a little bit faster, which is good. We still have the inside of this to cook too, even though the outside is kind of brown. You're going to be hearing a lot of crashing in a second. Yep, there. So I'm going to throw some chicken broth in here and turn this down a little bit. Here's our chicken broth. I have more than this. So this is homemade. You guys hear me talk about all the scraps and stuff that I use from cooking. That usually goes into making a homemade chicken broth. Yeah, there's definitely a sweet spot with cast iron cooking, which is why I've mainly used it grill-wise right now. For some reason, for me, it's easier to maintain the sweet spot cooking with the grill than it is for me to do it indoors. I haven't perfected that yet. So I'm gonna throw that on and I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. That's gonna sort of steam. And again, since it's homemade chicken stock, I control exactly what goes into that and I know it's gonna taste fine. So it's not really messing with any of the flavors that we already created, and it's healthier and lower sodium. So if you guys go out and buy chicken stock, that's fine. But if you're making your own, it'll definitely be A, more cost effective, and B, more flavorful. I was reading a little bit more about it and they said that a lot of commercial chicken stocks are actually just like water with like flavoring in it, and when you're making your own, 100% you get to control the additional flavor and stuff that's in it. So just a side note, it takes practice, but once you got it, you got it. I definitely do need to practice. You will not be seeing the cast iron on the stove on stream anytime soon, but maybe we'll do a grilling stream with it. All right, waiting for our bubbles to come up with the egg noodles. And I'm gonna get some additional cleanup going. So these were a little too frozen for my liking when I got up this morning, so I actually ended up defrosting them in the fridge. Yeah, I got a few things trying to look at inventory my fridge a little bit. Yeah, I have a huge shopping list for what I want to do this week. You've noticed people have more of a hard time caring for their cast irons to start with. Learning to do the cleaning and the caring of it will change how cast iron cooks. So I do have a story for that. So my dad is the king of bleach. Like, you look on it, well, here, you can probably see a little bit. That's bleach. My dad is the king of bleach and clean. I love him. He put the cast iron in the dishwasher, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't a good idea. You're not supposed to do that. So you can always reseason things like that. So, but like the number one thing I learned about cast iron is that you don't throw it in the dishwasher at all. Yeah, so like the first thing I did so I actually got my cast iron from my mom's things when I moved here. I didn't actually know what was all in her storage unit, and then I got it and it was like, it was knives, it was cast iron stuff, it was cooking utensils. I had 4 cheese graters at one point, and it was a lot of cooking stuff that I, had either not thought about cooking with or just had been dealing without for so long. But the cast iron thing was a really big thing for me because it's a really good way to cook things, even though I'm sort of slowly just getting used to cooking it. So I actually had to re-season it because it had been sitting in storage for so long. So We don't put it in the dishwasher. We legitimately just wash it out with plain water if there's anything stuck to it, which if you season it well, most times there isn't. And then we just usually keep, at least the bigger one, we keep, you know, sitting in storage with the oil. I don't typically keep anything in my oven because I'm really one of those people that will accidentally turn it on and then whatever's in there is done. So we have ours in a little Hoosier. I will not show our dining room right now because it's a little bit of a mess, but we might do a tour of that later. But I keep it in there along with my 12-inch pans that I use for frying chicken. So one of these days I would love to fry chicken in it. I'm just, again, really kind of hesitant to potentially ruin it or ruin food in it. Not the dishwasher, I know, right? And thank you for the follow. I am Panta, really appreciate it. Welcome. We are working on some meal prep with some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We got water boiling for egg noodles, and then we got some really delicious roasted veggies going on in the oven. And I'm all for simple stuff like this. It's great, especially when you're running around or you're feeling crazy or you want to get something done real quick, and you know, just throw a couple things in the oven or on the stove to have things done. So let's check back in on our chicken. Got the stove cam going. I cannot, I'm sorry, I just have to, again, thank you to the person who donated this arm, because I really like the fact that I can look on my computer screen behind me and see a really good view of the stove. This is actually the hardest part of lids. I hate cooking with lids because I don't know where to put them, because if you put them on the counter, like, it gets wet and mess. So this didn't get as brown on the other side, but I will chop, you know what, we're probably going to chop that up and figure out something to do with that. I can kind of tell, I don't know how well the colors are coming through, but these are definitely not done yet. So we're going to try and actually cook down a little bit of the stock, so I'm going to turn this up just a smidge. This is only on medium heat right now too, so it's not anything crazy. So we're just going to turn that up a little bit and let some of the stock evaporate off, and then it'll be sort of like a little pan sauce that the chicken is in right now. I have a ham in the crock pot with green beans and potatoes. Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic. And hi Chantel. Chantel, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing things wrong. Working on it. Welcome. I'm really glad you stopped by. I know you have been talking about wanting to stop by for a while, so I really appreciate it. All right, so again, we got our chicken going. Though I do have to admit, the fact that it is cloudy out today makes it a lot better in terms of the lighting situation in my kitchen too. Sometimes when it's too sunny, my camera does not like it. All right. We are almost to a really good boil. So typically with pasta, I will throw salt in there. With egg noodles, I don't think I'm going to throw any salt in there because I'm going to do it mostly afterwards. So I am not going to make this whole bag either. I actually thought that there was only half a bag left and I'd be using stuff up. I guess not. Yes, you made it. All right. Give me 1 minute because I'm going to find something else that I can get at times. I don't have an Alexa this far in my house in the kitchen yet. Probably should put one in here. All right. Alright, so we're just going to throw, yeah, we got a pretty good boil going. We're going to throw these in there. It says 5 to 7 minutes, so that's what we're going to do, 6, because that's right in the middle. Yep, we're just going to leave that on there. And then we're going to roll these up for another day. You're good with egg noodles, right? He's gonna get what I make him and he's gonna like it. That's how that's gonna work. I'm probably gonna end up using those little rice packets. I've gone a little healthier. I have some of these. So this is usually what I have, and then I have the white rice, the basmati and jasmine, in case we're not feeling as adventurous. But I know this is probably not the healthiest thing in the world. Okay, so the worst thing in here is the sodium, to be quite honest, but it's brown rice and it's wild rice. So I view it as slightly more healthy, nutrient dense than your typical white rice. And then our vegetables are coming along nicely. I can't really, not gonna try and take them out. But they're starting that nice little char that you get when you roast vegetables, which is always, there's like a peak point of like char. We're going to do is, as these things are cooking along, is I'm going to start pulling out some of the dishes that I want to put these in for the week. So when we moved here, I made the investment of getting glassware. So we have this Snapware stuff. You can get like a 12-piece set or something at Costco for like 30 bucks. So the reason why I go with glass over plastic, even though it's a little bit more expensive in the investment run, it keeps things fresher longer. It doesn't leach chemicals. It looks a little nicer. I will wholeheartedly say that. It looks a little bit nicer. And it's just more, for some reason, it's more environmentally friendly. It doesn't break as easily. Yes, if you drop it on the ground, it's going to break. So I don't recommend this for packing like kids' lunches or anything unless they're older. But for adult lunches that you're just taking back and forth to work, these are great. And they're very sturdy. They don't bend in the dishwasher or anything. And these have these Loctite lids, which are great for storage because they stack really easily. I know, probably an ad for Snapware at this point too. Right, so this little sauce that we made is actually quite nice too. So I'm probably going to put some of that in there. Just gonna, again, this is probably, yeah, that's probably done. It's very firm and the juices are clear. So I'm gonna let that start to chill as I'm gonna cut this up to actually put into bite-sized pieces for our little meal prep lunches. And I'm gonna let this go probably for another like 2 to 3 minutes. And then of course have to make sure that none of this stuff sticks to the bottom, because nobody really wants, you know, stuff stuck to the bottom of their pots when they're boiling things. It's no fun. Hey, Marius, are you looking for a treat? Come here. And while we let that go for a minute, we're just gonna take a tiny little break. Come here. Everybody needs to see him at least once a stream, and not just lurking in the corner. Sit. Hey, Tiberius. Say hello, everybody. Yeah. Ready? You just hold that down. You really just hold that down. You're really supposed to take your time when it comes to treats. All right, sit. Lay down. Down. All the way. Alrighty. Alright, and that is our pasta timer. Alright, Paul. Mommy's gotta get the pasta, alright? So we're gonna turn that off, so we're in the correct direction when it comes to pesto. And then I'm going to grab a strainer, and we're gonna go rinse this off. And while we do that, I'm gonna turn this burner off too, to allow the chicken to like rest a little bit, cool off more like it, so that I can actually work with it. So let me just grab this and drain our pasta. Or egg, they're egg noodles. I don't know if this is considered pasta or not, I just call it that. Alright, so those are cooling off. I'm not gonna rinse them just yet. Then we are going to grab another bowl. Actually, grab this one. This one's probably a little bit better size for what we need. I'm gonna grab another bowl, and we're just gonna start kind of cutting the chicken up and putting it into this bowl. If it is a little on the undercooked side, that's fine, because we will reheat these in the microwave, and I'd rather err on that side of them finishing in the microwave than being completely overcooked now and then tasting disgusting and rubbery once you microwave. So I'll go with that. That's usually my approach when it comes to prepping foods. So my aim is not exactly equal perfect pieces. Oh boy. If you can't see, my assistant thinks that he needs to be a taste tester. What do you think, chat? Do we give him a small piece of chicken? I will save this little piece. Give him all the chicken. I can't give him all the chicken. I'm just going to try one piece at a time, just so that I can get through this. So I normally do a very basic spice on my chicken when it comes to meal prepping. What we end up doing, and I'll show you this after I'm done putting them in the little containers. I can see you guys want me to give him a treat, so we'll do that after I'm done chopping this all up. So I'll show you this again after we give the dog his celebratory treat. The reason why I stick very basically, and I could go, you know, crazy and come up with themes, and I have before, and I sometimes still do that while I'm meal prepping. When it comes to meal prep variety, for me, I can't eat the same thing every day. I know a lot of people like that, like consistency. They like making, like, I'm just gonna go back and say, like, if you're trying to, you know, bulk up or lose weight, or a lot of people go for like the chicken and rice thing. Like, I can't have the same exact thing every single day. It's just not who I am. It's not my personality. So what my particular method of meal prep does is, if you like the same thing, great. You make it, it's all the same. Like, you season it, everything tastes the same because you're seasoning it consistently. But the other thing that the simple seasoning trick that I use does is it allows you to put another flavoring or seasoning over it so that you're not bored if you're like me and don't want the same exact thing for lunch every day. And then here's our last one. So I'll give you a little bit of a clue to what we sometimes do with ours, especially showing you the fact that we have those little rice packets or something like that. That's huge. So some of these pieces are a little bigger than others. All right. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come here. Come here. All right. Here's the moment of truth. Here's our taste tester. Come on, bud. All right, sit. All right. What do you think? Good? I don't know if he says it's good or not. But he ate it, so I'm going to consider that as it was good. All right, let me wash my hands real quick. So, what do I do with all this chicken when I put it in this glassware? And I'll put some noodles in there too. So I'm just going to show you a brief sample of some of the things. So what we do is we take, you know, so we have this really base plain kind of, you know, very lightly seasoned chicken. And what we'll do is we'll use things, you know, to spice it up a little bit that we already have. So like salad dressings are a great one, especially if you're actually pairing it with a salad, which I do have some lettuce in there. This is a great one I picked up at our Asian grocer. So this type of, like these types of sauce, so you can kind of change the flavor to whatever you want with these sauces because this is so lightly seasoned. Alright, there's our timer for the vegetables. They look like they still need a couple minutes, so I'm gonna keep going with them while I divide all this up. And I'm gonna throw these back in the fridge. So that's sort of my game plan when it comes to lightly seasoning, because then you don't get bored because you're mixing things up every day, and then, you know, you're using stuff that you can just buy in bulk and then just put a little sauce on it and you're good to go. So we're gonna load up a few of these with noodles, and then we're just gonna do some chicken and some of the other ones. So here are our noodles. Again, just gonna try and divide these as evenly as possible. And this is great because you literally just have to put these in the microwave for a few minutes. And especially if you're doing another sauce with them, the liquid will help keep them from drying out. Meanwhile, you can't see him, but my sous chef over here is staring at me like he wants noodles too. This dog loves this food. All right. So there we have 3 meals that do have noodles, and then we'll just put a little bit of chicken in each one. And again, I cut them up this way. It really, like, you're getting a healthy chunk, dosage of chicken in each one, and then definitely some noodles on top of that. And then the roasted veggies, I can throw in on top of here once those are finished, or I'll have them in their own glass container so I can just heat them up whenever they want, because my husband's not as much of a veggie eater as I am. Hey Trex! Now I'm back in the kitchen heating up mac and cheese for them. So, Robert, while I have you here, what is your technique for heating up mac and cheese? Like, do you use the microwave and just like turn it all the way up? Or do you use some other technique? I'm just curious because sometimes heating up mac and cheese doesn't taste the same, and there's definitely a way to get it to taste good. So this will just be the extra chicken that will be either with rice or some other starch, or just the veggies, or I'll use this as, like, this is really easy to, literally I can boil some of the spaghetti that I have already in our pantry and just throw this chicken on top of it and the roasted veggies, and there you go. It's like a really easy, basic pasta lunch without having to do too much work. If it's homemade baked, throw it in a skillet. No, yeah. I don't usually keep too much milk on hand. Almond milk, yes. Chocolate almond milk, yes. What are you looking at him? Why? Are you stealing cookies? Steve is stealing cookies out of the dining room. All right, so we're gonna actually throw all these together. So here's kind of what it looks like. These all fit easily in our fridge. You grab one, and then, or grab the chicken and like one of these things, and like 90 seconds to like 5 minutes, and you have your whole lunch pretty much ready to go. And then we still have our veggies roasting, but that's gonna take a little bit longer, so I'm not gonna let me pull them out so that you can see what they're at right now. I still think they need a few minutes, but here's our veggies. As you can see, they're still very bright and colorful, but I still think they need a few minutes to roast. And that's not the most exciting thing to watch ever. So I'm going to finish that up. Those are going to roast pretty much for probably another 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on how long they take to cook. And then I'm going to divide them up the same thing that I did with these. I have some more glass containers of various sizes that I'll throw those in so that I'll have a quick healthy either snack or lunch or addition to lunch, which will be great as well. So that's sort of it for today's stream. Again, this week, what we have coming up, we should have our Imperfect box tomorrow, so I'm not sure exactly when that will be delivered, so we'll either have a stream tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on when everything gets delivered. And then I'm still working on recipes for the week, so we'll see what that sort of comes to. Again, I really appreciate you guys joining me. I hope the camera work was much better. I'm really excited that I got to show you guys, you know, better stove / cutting board action with this arm. So any kind of, again, and this is all pretty much from you guys. So when you guys support the stream, either by lurking or donating, subbing, following, any sort of that thing, retweeting, catching me on YouTube, that type of thing, all those donations go back into trying to make this better for you guys and seeing what you guys want. So this will be up on YouTube within the next 1 to 3 days. So if you are catching the tail end of the stream and you want to see, you know, the techniques and stuff that we discussed in the front end, this will be on my YouTube channel. And if you haven't followed me yet over on YouTube, go over and check that out. All the previous Quarantine Canteen episodes will on there, and then we'll be working on future episodes as well, and maybe some short clips as well. So again, I just wanted to thank you guys for stopping by. Really appreciate, again, all of the support, especially over the past few weeks as we've all sort of been struggling. And I will see you guys in the kitchen later.